loud and clear. That's all I wanted to know, is make sure I heard you loud and clear.
I'm here. We
You
here.
are. And so this is our first live recording for the Point Blank Period podcast.
That's
Um,
right.
and it's interesting. So I see all the notifications going out. Y'all can see us on YouTube. Y'all can see us on Facebook. I don't know if y'all can see us on Instagram because I have not gotten a notification. And it's a fairly new, from what I see. 'Cause I'm new to StreamYard, but I'm also new to, or I guess Instagram Live is new to StreamYard. So I don't know. Like I said, I didn't get any notifications as I thought I was going to get for Instagram. So we're just going to go for it and be great with
That's
YouTube and
right.
Facebook for sure.
That's right.
All
Which
right.
is, I mean, one of the things that we've been talking about as we go into the new year is what are we going to do different?
Right.
Bam, this is it. This is what we're going to do different.
This is the first thing. And we did not
This,
start in 2020. We did not wait to start in 2024. Okay.
right.
Because one thing about me, and you have two Aquariuses, that's your co-host, right? And the fact that we're both Aquarius, I know a lot of the times that we think similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, and one of those things is if you're gonna do something, why wait to 2 weeks? Next year is 2 weeks away. Why wait? Okay, let's just go ahead. Let's go ahead and get it going right now when we are having on our mind to do it.
I've actually done a couple of those things this year, not waiting. Like, okay, as I'm planning and getting ready for the new year, it's like, okay, I know I need to do this. I want to do this. Instead of waiting for, welcome, happy new year. I'm like, well, I know I want to do it. I'm just gonna start now.
Mhm.
So I've been doing that in this month of December for sure.
Well, and it's funny because so this show is going to be like things that we're taking from 2023, which went by entirely too fast for me. If you ask me, if you
Listen,
ask me, 2023, I really need to go back and see everything I've accomplished, all the learning moments, all the teachable moments, all those things. I need to kind of take some time to just go back and revisit because it just went by so
it really
fast. I
did go by
cannot
fast.
believe like within a few weeks it is literally 2024. But so what I know I need to get better at is planning, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But when we were just talking about sometimes when you need to put an action into motion, you don't need to plan for it. You just need to do it, right? So with me,
But that is not your issue. You don't
no,
have a problem just doing.
no. So but one of the things that I'm going to put in action and in motion for 2024 is the planning. All right. Because I'm very good at being impulsive and like just going and starting and seeing where things are gonna go. I have no problem with just like throwing something against the wall and seeing if it's gonna stick. That I have no problem with doing. I can do that
Right.
all day long. It's the planning and thinking ahead is where I need to definitely, grow in. So yeah. So opening up today's show and today's conversation, we really, like we said, we're at the end of the year that went by the quickest in all the 40 years I've been living on this planet, right? And this is the year that went by the quickest to me.
I
And
really
so
think, because you're not the only person that's been saying that, but I really feel it is because this 2023 would have been the first, I think, if I look back, the first full year after the pandemic that we've been fully out there. And
yeah,
so I feel like things look like they felt like they went slower because things were going
not
slower.
slower, faster.
Well, I'm saying I think during the pandemic,
Oh,
things felt like they were going slower. And so this year, 2023, is actually the year where it went back to how it was, but felt faster for everybody else. Like,
okay.
I don't really feel like it, think it went, if I'm putting it in perspective, that it went faster. It just feels like it went faster because it's back to how we used to do things in what, 2018, twenty
Right,
nineteen, And that
right,
seems
right,
really fast.
right.
And
That makes sense.
technology has added to that fast feeling too, because things that would normally roll out, like what's the threads, right? Something like threads would be equivalent to a Twitter
Hmm.
that may roll out, may take longer to roll out, but you're able to get a new thing to masses at a much quicker turnaround than before, than even in 2018, 2008. Something in 2018 wouldn't run through social media. We can talk about what's going on with Cardi B and what's his name?
All face of what's
Offset. We can talk about what happened with Cardi B and Offset, right? Which is everybody. I think it's happened a day ago or 2 days ago, and everybody is talking about it.
Well, catch me up because I don't know what's going on,
girl. So Offset being Offset, and Cardi B went live. I think it was on Instagram, like crying, calling him all kind of what they call them, F boys, calling him an F boy, and she was, on there crying. I don't think, the least part I saw, the excerpt that I saw, I didn't see the whole thing. She wasn't showing her face, but she was like, she done. And I think he was celebrating his birthday too. So he out the two different things going at the same time, is he out there living his best life. And she the baby mama at home crying about how he ain't this, he ain't that. She been holding back and not telling about what he is, but she done with this, she done with him, all this. Well, but my point is, something like that would have happened maybe on Saturday, and it wouldn't have hit everybody until 5 days later. And 5 days later is how, when at the time period, somebody like me who doesn't even pay attention to that stuff would have found about, I'd have been late to the scene. But the fact that it happened yesterday, and I'm who don't pay attention to that kind of stuff already know about it in real time, shows how fast things get spread now in the world, which makes a year seem like it goes by so fast. Because
and thanks to AI, right? Because I mean, we our cousin Chat GPT and Bard and all,
and they done made Chat GPT an app too, baby. It's over.
So thanks to AI, you know what, you're right, because this is the first full year that us common folk have access to AI, right? And so the fact that, a business plan or a marketing plan or a marketing email campaign and all this that would have taken you days and weeks to create, you have at least you have like the outlines or the skeleton or something to go by within seconds. So everything has become faster, which, I'm not necessarily used to. I'm used to, things happening in real time, but because you have all of these tools in place and all of these different software and technology in place, I'm sure that did speed up what we can consider our time, or time, it speeds it up. So with that being said, though, so although I do still want to take action when it comes to, and I'm going to take action when opportunities are brought to me that aligns with the mission that I already have in mind. I'm going to take action, and it's going to be fast, right? I'm everybody who's everybody. When it says, when it comes to like taking action, it's how quickly you can take that action, because there's things, and I'm sure you could think about some things that you have thought about doing, and then you look up and it's already being done. Like it's the most interesting thing, right? Like, oh my God, 5 years ago, or I thought about that last year, and you're like, oh my God, now it's already been done. So if you're gonna do it, take action. However, my goal for 2024 is to be strategic in what I'm doing, right? So yesterday I was at this network. Well, I was invited to this beautiful vineyard in White, Georgia. And
where, Georgia? Where, Georgia?
White, Georgia.
So that's actually a city called White, Georgia? Wow, I didn't know that. I'm gonna look it up.
Okay. Yeah, you have to look it up. It's straight up I-75 north, so it's going towards like the mountains. It was very beautiful. The drive was beautiful. It took up it's an hour outside of Atlanta, right? And the name of the vineyard was Big Door Vineyard. Really beautiful. And so I was invited there by a longtime online friend, Crystal. And you and I both know Crystal.
Oh yeah, Cooper.
Crystal Cooper. And so
shout out Crystal
although
Cooper.
we've been friends on Facebook for at least 3-4 years now, I've never met her in person. So I got into the habit this year in 2023.
Because I think I met her through you, and I've actually seen her in person. We had lunch a couple of years ago.
Yeah, because I think her company had did some work for you or something like
Yep.
that. Because we actually talked about that yesterday.
Yep.
She was
She set
like,
up
yeah,
my what is that called? Clavio. She set up my Clavio for me.
yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. She told me she worked on a system for you. She didn't say what system it was, but she did say, yeah. She's like, yeah, I worked on a system for her years ago. So that's the power of connections, which actually that's one of the things that I'm going to take with me in
In
2024.
2024. Yep. Gotta leverage that in 2024 for sure.
Connections is yeah. But going back to it, so yesterday, so she had this TikTok video that blew up. She went to this vineyard earlier this year. She's very heavy on TikTok. I have not gotten into that space yet. I will be honest. I don't know if I'll ever be in that space. I don't know, but um so she's in that space. She posted this video of her going to the vineyard earlier this year, and it blew up. It got like 500,000 views and all this stuff. So the vineyard told her, hey, we have not had a month like this. Like since your video has posted, this has been the busiest month that we've had. Right. So
Wow.
power
Contract.
of connections and just the social media, right? So she posted the video, it goes viral. The company reaches out to him, was like, hey, we love what you did. Thank you, because we have not had this type of business ever since we've been open. And
Wow.
so they invited her and like 5 people to come back. And they were like, look, whatever you want, honey, is on the house. Because
Wow.
who would, if you had a month like whatever month they had, who wouldn't say it's on the house? Because we owe you.
Right.
That's the least we can
Right.
do.
Right.
So she reached out to me, I think last week, and it was really cool because a few people that I have been connected with online, I necessarily
For there.
wasn't connected with in real life,
Mm-hmm.
and so 3 of those people showed up, and the power of getting outside of your 4 walls and going somewhere and connecting with people in real life is powerful. Like it's life changing, and it's a connection that social media and online just cannot give you. It just
Yeah.
cannot. Like it's something about that energy exchange with being with in a room full of people that and you connect with, that is just life changing.
Right. So
So mhm.
I was just gonna say that I used some big words because took some notes on things that I wanted to make sure we covered about doing in 2024. So you said leverage your connections in 2024. Here's how I wrote that in big
Yeah,
words.
yeah,
It,
yeah.
it was fostering diversity and inclusion to promote innovation and broader perspectives. But that's
We'll
literally what you
unpack that.
did. That's what you did at the vineyard. Like
Mhm.
and I know you're going to talk about this because I know who she talks to. I want to call her
Mhm.
Cooper because I remember that last name
Yeah,
from
Crystal.
Facebook. Yeah,
Yeah.
Crystal.
Mr.
Her,
Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
right. So
Yeah,
Crystal's
yeah, no, go
connections,
ahead.
I know she has good connections. So when she chose 5 people, I know without a shadow of a doubt at a vineyard with those 5 people, it broadened your perspective. You walked away with like, I'm gonna try that. Oh, she said that. Oh, let me do that
Right.
in a diverse, because she has a diverse group of people that she works
Yes.
group. So it's
Yes.
not normal. Even being in white, first of all, I now know about white Georgia. So even knowing that white Georgia now exists has broadened your
Correct.
perspective. I guarantee you the people who own the vineyard are not normally in your circle. But
No.
now if you called them up and was like, hey, I'm bringing a group out. Hey, I was part of Crystal's 5 people that she invited. I wanted to
Mhm.
come back out there and bring these group of people. Like
Oh,
that.
red carpet. Red carpet will be rolled out.
Exactly.
No, I know.
Exactly.
I already know this. You're right.
That is what 2024 should be about, is that, and taking the time to write out and write down. Like if you spent money on attending events, ours would be the podcast, right? We literally
Mhm.
should go back, and I didn't think of this until this conversation, but all the connections that we made at that podcast,
Yes.
we should be reaching out to those people that we made connections to, and they should be part of our 2024, leveraging those connections
Right.
in 2024. And that's what I would tell the people who are watching us right now is write down that you paid 90, 80, 70, 50, 500, 1,000 to be in rooms last year. Write down those events you attended. So go back to your calendar, Google, whatever
Mhm.
you wrote these down, and who did you connect with at that? And how could you leverage the connection you made in 2023 in your goals for 2024? That's a bar right there. That's a
That's
key.
it. That's a strategy, because the fact that the conference that you're talking about, we still have access to the app that housed everybody who attended the conference, we can DM
was,
them.
yep, I
We
was
have their
just
email
thinking about
addresses. We've already added them to our funnel, right? So really being able, hi mom, this is my mom. She's enjoying the conversation. It's so cute. This is the mom. This is our first time going live. So this is thank you so much for being here. But yeah, so finding a way to leverage all of the connections that you've made in 2023, but even going back. I mean, think about the energy. I think about money as energy, right? So think about the energy that you've used, physical resources like your money, but then also your time. So we had an event last week, last Sunday. It's just been a week. That's why I said time going by so fast, because it feels like it's been more than a week.
a month.
But I know you led us in this powerful, life-changing vision and goal setting event just last week. We were in this time right now, we were in this goal setting event, right?
Yep.
And so there were people that I had met in person, but there were people that I had met online, but meeting them in person, now it's something about that personal connection. I'm able to think about their top of mind. So when I need to refer
Exactly.
somebody, when I need to be referred, when I need resources, I'm going to them first because I met them in person. So any type of event that you've attended, any type of real life interaction that you've had in 2023 and prior to that, just think about those people. I would really encourage you to take some time out, even if it's a few minutes, just take some time out and kind of just let your brain and your mind go back to think about those interactions. Somebody you need to follow up with. I'm sure you spoke to somebody and was like, yeah, I'm gonna follow up with you. I'm gonna reach out to you. And you never did. Reach out to them because you never know like where your next opportunity lies. And I know for me personally, my personality that I have, um, it is said that my biggest opportunities come from my connections. And because I know that, and because I took time to know that about myself, which came from taking certain assessments, so just taking uh inventory about who I am, and this 40 years of living and where my opportunities have came from, it's because of people who spoke my names in rooms that I haven't even attended, even thought about being in. My name was spoken in those rooms, and then my opportunities, became real. And
Right.
so, that's one thing I'm going to leverage. I'm also going to say yes to more leadership opportunities.
Good for you.
Because, girl, because one, and this my life path number is a number one. I'm a leader. I'm a born leader.
Yes,
Okay.
you are.
And because I've not said yes to a lot of leadership opportunities that I know could have propelled me to my next levels. I'm going to lean into those opportunities now and going forward. So, um, even within the last few weeks, I've said yes to being a leader in the Women into Networking group here in Atlanta. And already I didn't go into it saying this is the benefits that I want out of it. I actually leaned into it because one, you know, I knew that the position requires like event planning and things
Which
like
you
that. And
killed.
right. And that's I love to do that type of thing. Like if I could do it and not get paid or whatever, I love to do it. I can do that all day. And
Great.
so
Noted.
because it's right, because it's something I can do in my sleep, I'm like, yes, I'll lean into that. I'll help you. I want to help serve an organization that's already growing and already has some momentum, something that I don't have to create,
Right.
you
Right.
know. And so I'm leaning into saying yes to those opportunities, and I'm already seeing the return on the value that I'm adding, to those opportunities.
So I like
So
the point you made about adding value, and you've already, because you added value, you've already gained value out of that situation. And I think that's something that people should capitalize on doing in 2024 in life and in business is, what would you do if you didn't get paid for it? Like, the one thing you're going to do is make an event great. And it sounded like to me, you've held yourself back from doing that because it's like, I don't want to have to do it from scratch. Or not even that you don't want to have to, you don't have time to do it from
I don't have
scratch.
the
But
energy. No.
right, you don't have the time to energy to do it from scratch. So you have found value by doing it for a group who needs that peace. And I was in the room, so I heard them saying over and over again, like, girl, this is nice. How did you find this quick? Because you did, like, you was literally sent the text night before, like, we're gonna do it here. And I'm like, how do you even know this person to be able to use their space next day? And
Connections.
right, your connections are helping an already existing group, and they value what you're bringing in because it was a short spot for them. It was a gap for them, and you're going to grow without trying in 2024 in this space because it's naturally who you are, and they already appreciate. And what you, I know how you think, and you probably like, but I ain't do nothing, and you're not doing nothing was 1000% greater than they could have done. And so they thought it was amazing. And you probably like, I would have, I already know, you're probably like, I should have done this. I should have added this. This this way. The lighting wasn't that way. I can't believe it had this. And everybody in the room was like, wow. And I think that's what the point that people should look. It's definitely my word for this year. It took me a while I feel like it took me a while, but it's not even January 1st. But I feel like I should have had my word already. But my word for 2024 is to educate. And people are probably like, well, you already educate, but it hasn't been my focus. And so I've stayed out of certain rooms because I'm like, what value can I add to the room? But if I go into because what I naturally do is educate. So if I spend 2024 saying in every room, I'm going to go into it to educate, if I add that value to the room, value will be added back to me, which is exactly the example that you gave.
Absolutely.
So I like that. Adding value into where, in what rooms and what spaces can you add value to?
Can you add value? Right. It's all about the value. And then the other thing that I'm going to take from 2023 is trusting my intuition and trusting the process more. There's been time and so when I really look back over some of the key moments of of this year, it's been the fact that if I would have trusted the process and trusted my intuition more, I wouldn't have stressed myself and I wouldn't have overwhelmed myself. I would have just continued the journey that I was already on. I knew the goal already, right? But me wanting to take the wheel and have all of the control as far as how we were going to get there or how, just how I was going to get to whatever the goal was, stressed me a lot more than by the time we actually met the goal. I'm looking back and I'm like, oh, I could have just like taken myself out of this a little bit and just trust the process, trust the seeds that I planted, because it's a process. Me being a human being, I want it right now. You know what I'm saying? I want it right now, and I want it a certain way, and I think it's gonna.
I was thinking of a song.
I think it's supposed to look a certain way, but after the goal has been accomplished, and I look back on it, I'm like, it worked out. It worked out how it was supposed to work out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I just need to be more mindful of that going into next year. Is that yes, there are things there are goals, there are things that I want to accomplish, but it may not necessarily look exactly how I think it's supposed to look.
Yep. I think that's the reason for having goals in mind, is that when it doesn't look the way you thought it should look, go back to your goal and say, but is it still getting you towards the mark? And as long as it's still getting you towards the mark, then it doesn't have to look the way you thought it was going to look. People get caught up in the look of things and forget that even though it looks different, I'm still getting closer to that goal. I think that was one of the things I wanted people to realize when we were doing that. Maybe it's considered vision casting for the next 10 years and looking at that 10-year goal. And it worked for me too, because as I review, because this 2023 did not look the way that I thought it was going to look. Not a bad thing, but it definitely didn't look the way I thought it was going to look. But as I review it and I look at where I want to be in 10 years, even though it looked differently, did it still get me closer to the vision that I have? It did.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so that's the bigger thing, is to keeping your goal and what the end thing you want to reach, is it getting you there? Like this right here, when I tell you I'm so in love with this current setting that we got going on.
I know.
But it took what we did in 2023 to get to where we are right now, which now, because I'll be honest, I was like, I don't even know how this is going to look at 24. And now I'm like, oh, we about to blow up.
Right. Yeah, but again, taking because we can. This reminds me of being too close to the what is it? Too close to the trees and can't see the forest.
Yeah.
And so when you're in it, and I'm telling y'all, we are in it. Y'all are in it, and it's something about being in it, but not being able to see the bigger picture and how it's
Right.
going to actually evolve. And there is one thing. So shout out to Lancer because he over here. Look, this is our first time using this platform, and I am so thankful to have somebody on a team, right, who can help produce these things because it's hard when you have to show up and give the content. You got to be the producer. You got to do all the things. It's hard. And one of the things I definitely, me and myself, I know I'm going to work on for 2024 is leaning more on our community. And so allowing everybody to operate in their own
There's
areas of expertise and not feeling like because I'm asking people to do things or because I'm saying, hey, y'all, let's come together and do something. It's it's like being a burden. I think that was the biggest thing for me. It's like I don't want to be a burden on someone else because I know everybody is out here trying to figure it out, right?
mm-hmm.
But if we all come together as the community, as the people that are saying, you know what, when I move, we move just like that, we could come together and do some big things. There was a company that you introduced me to last week, and looking back into the different people that are part of their team and how they went from one like leading and helping a particular project. This was like somebody's personal brand, right? They all were like focused on creating this person's personal brand and getting him out there and all of that. Now they're all over into this other space.
Yep.
So it's like when I move, we move, and
Yep.
we gonna make stuff shake. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
so I think we have got to like we have some super dope people in our lives and in our community. And when we just look within our immediate space, having that synergy and making sure that we're utilizing all of the energy that's around us before we start going looking out.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely one of the things that I'm gonna
and
make
and
sure
to
that.
your point of not being a burden to, I think about people who through my leadership I've put into places where they are excelling and it has taken things off my plate, is
Mm-hmm.
that what I've done as a leader and what I've learned to do. This is one of the things that I've say, if you have where you want to be and you need to realize what skills you need to learn to get there, and this is a skill I had to enhance to get to where I
Right.
am now, so much so that I looked up and felt guilty because I have time on my hands and I think I'm dropping the ball. And then I was like, no, you've just actually put in place the systems that have freed up your time. You've earned this.
Right.
You've
Right.
earned this free time. And
Right.
how I did that was doing it like I have not felt like it's been a burden because I've learned the people around me's strengths, what
Mm-hmm.
they enjoy doing and what they're good at, right? So like we previously talked about the Monday mindset thing. Like I knew my team needed to be fed consistently with mindset because it has to be put in front of you. You want to change something, you need to put it in front of you over and over and over again. I was like, well, I
Right.
can't take that on. Like I can't give up another day of the week building people's mindset. And so I found somebody on my team and she's killing it. She's
Okay.
flourishing it.
Yes.
She's loving the feedback she's being given by doing what she naturally loves to do is adding fuel to her fire, and she's getting even better at it and loving it even more. And so I don't feel like it's a burden to her. Now, I know people on my team where I could think and see their faces and names right now who that if I asked them to do this, it would be a burden to them because it's not
Right.
their gift. And
Right.
so to help keep it from feeling like you're burdening somebody with someone is learning their gifts. And if you give them the right thing on your plate, they will
Mm-hmm.
gladly take it, eat it up,
Right.
make it look better, fix it continuously over and over. And she's killing it. But I've
Now let me
learned my
let me ask you
team's
this.
strengths.
How how do you identify those? Like what process did you take? Like how did you know she would be the best person for this?
Well, I with my leaders, I have one-on-one. So I spend time with people. So I do also think this is like a skill and talent of mine that comes naturally. And I've always seen it as a work smarter, not harder. Like when I was assistant principal, I've always found what people, whatever it is, it's looking deeper into what they enjoy. So for example, let's say, and I'll give my school example. If I was there was a teacher in my school who loved animals. All right. And
Mm-hmm.
so you're like, how are you gonna lose somebody loving animals in a elementary school setting? Well, we had to have fall festivals. So who can I put in charge on finding like the pony person to come out to the fall
Mm-hmm.
festival and who would love it? It's not gonna feel like a burden to them. The
Right.
person who loves animals is going to have those kind of connections, and she's going to be happy and going to shine, and she's going to she's going to be at that place managing, because like, well, now the pony here, who going to have manage the kids over there? She gonna love every part of picking up the pony doo-doo, and she's gonna love every part, like she's gonna love every part of that. So now for people who that's not a strength of yours, you can't off rip identify people's strengths, is have the people who are on your leadership team or in your circle take a personality test. There's plenty
Mm-hmm.
of viable good ones. Myers-Briggs, there's the
Mm-hmm.
dice one, and then there's another one, I can't
Strength
think.
finders.
Strength finder. Yeah, those are
Yeah.
the top three that I like. I've taken all three of them. I've also had my team, so she's taken that, and we've gone through it together because not everybody understands what to pull from that. So I've done one-on-ones with them and
Mm-hmm.
had them look like, what do you think this is saying about you? And so many of them, because when you're not from like a corporate background, or you're not a kind of person who naturally likes to find, like I like to know how people think and that kind of thing. That's not naturally you. You may have never taken one of these tests. And so I've worked with people who've never taken them
Mm-hmm.
and they've taken them and like, oh my gosh, this is me.
Right.
And sometimes you know who you are, but you don't know how to categorize it or make it make sense. But when you see it listed or written, you're like, yep, that's me. Oh, I do that naturally. Oh, people hate that about me, but it's who you are, right?
Right.
And people
Right.
hate it about you because you're not in the right circles of people who will value that about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I would say is whoever you first take it yourself, see what it says about you, and then have the people around you and say, like, I want you to take this so I can help you grow. I can help you. This is another adding value. I added value to her, and then now she's being able to add value to me. So that's where I would say start with personality tests.
Personality test. Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, outside of just the personality test, and I think this is probably one of the most consistent themes that we've been talking about over the last few shows, but it's like knowing yourself. So, like I love to meet people who know who they are when it comes to their human design, or when it comes to, like more than just your own like uh um most people know like their sun sign, their zodiac, like I'm an Aquarius or whatever. But when you know a little bit deeper though, it makes for a different conversation because you know yourself in a different way that most people do not, right? So just take some time to just know yourself on all the different levels, on all the different ways. I mean, look up, just get into things. I mean, if numbers is your thing, get into like numerology because you'll know yourself on a different level, right?
Yeah.
And all of it will come into play. Business, and what I'm learning is business is just not business. There's a personal element because the way you do business, and the way you do business and the way I do business will be two totally different things. But it's because you know yourself and I know myself and I know what works. So even with that, so like right now, I know that in order for me to get to my absolute next level, it's going to require a few things. It's going to require me to budget because right now I run my life as if I'm a stripper.
I'm sorry. Not a stripper. Wait a minute. I need you to go deeper and explain what does that mean, running your life as a stripper? Like identify, like
you know what? Every night when the stripper gets on the pole, she knows the very next night, she'll get her money, she'll collect her money that night, and then she'll wake up and she'll be like, oh, I want this Fendi bag, or oh, I want this whatever, I want this, I'm gonna go out and get this. And you spend the money right then, knowing you're gonna get it right back. What's that song? I'm gonna spend it, I'm gonna get it right back because
let's talk about. I literally saw on Instagram somebody say that spend it and get it right back. I'm leaving in 2023, and I was like,
I got to.
Yes. First of all, my husband is not playing in 2024. We are on. And he's already checking.
Oh, he got a budget?
We haven't even gone into 2024. And he was like, that's not what we said. Because we're on we're taking on no debt in 2024.
Okay.
We're taking on no debt. So if it's not something, and so I do have to do sort of that mentality. Like if I want to do it, I got to go make the extra to do it. And that challenges me because I'm like, bet. So I can't take this trip. Because he was like, trips are business trips in 2024. And I was like, baby, you don't know me. I can turn any trip into a business trip. Oh, Tanisha, you want to go to Vegas? Bet. Let me set up a meeting with somebody in Vegas. So I can turn this trip into a business trip and write it off. So that's one thing that she said is, and I'm with that. But what I hear you saying is, in 2024, your decisions need to be data-driven decisions. All right, so you can't make a decision that is not based on your data, for sure. I'll make it back tonight. Tiffany said, I'll make it back tonight. Exactly. We're not doing that in 2024. We're not going to do, oh, I'm going to spend it and make it back. First of all, it's not as easy in 2024. It hasn't been as easy in 2023 because for sure in 2021, 22, baby, I could spend a couple of thousands and be like, I'm going to make this right back. It ain't working like that. And this isn't just me. It's not just you. Like this is statistic because I do that. I like it when things aren't going the way that I want them to go. I like to go out and look at statistics and see, is this just did I F up? Is this a Christy thing? Or is this just what's happening in the business world, period, right now in my industry and outside of my industry? And because I've done the research, this is period across the board. Things are just not running how they ran for business owners in 2 years ago. It's just not. And so you have to adjust. Otherwise, you're going to be on some deep stuff trying to, and I've heard that. I've watched podcasts. I watched YouTube. I watched a lot of different conversations. And
you make me so proud to hear you say you watch podcasts. Because this time last
2022, year, I had watched none. I had never watched or listened to a podcast. But now I'm in that space. And I like it and I appreciate it. But I also don't stick to a certain genre or a certain ethnic background. I like to dibble and dabble. And when everybody is saying this, having the same conversations and saying the same things, then you know it's a universal thing right now. And that's where what I hear you saying is we have to make data-driven decisions. Like, and this goes for, so what I would say to people and what I've started and have to continue to do is looking back at what worked in my Facebook. So going to my analytics on Facebook, my analytics on Instagram, my analytics on YouTube, looking at the videos that worked and then saying, why did it work? Was it because we did more marketing for it? Was it because we put out more emails for it? Was it because we sent out text? Like what made that pop? Because sometimes we think it's just a good video, but it's the pre-work we did that made it a good video. Right. And so data-driven decisions has to be something that we take into 2024 for sure.
Yeah, no, you're right. And so with that being said though, all of that for me comes down to just being more disciplined and planning. And I loved the discipline. Like if y'all have not seen, I think it was I forgot what episode it was, but it was just a few episodes back. Or I think it's like Discipline Over Everything is the name of the show. But go back and watch that because the buckets that you walked us through, making sure that you have a bucket in there for yourself, your family, your team, if you have one, and also your company. Those are the things that I'm really, really focused on, making sure that I provide some type of plan and strategy for. I'm gonna give you a point. So I don't know. I'm in like 1,000 groups on Facebook, right? It's ridiculous. So one of them, I forgot what the name of the group was, but there was a young lady and she said, "Hey, how much do y'all spend on what's your like monthly budget for groceries?" And when I got to calculate how much it take to feed 3 people, it's like, and when some people were in there, that was like 400 a month and 150 a week. And I think of the high, people that actually had a plan in the budget, they were at like maybe 200 a week for a family of 3 or 4. And so I was like,
what about 1,000 to 1,200 a month for food?
And it's 4 y'all. I'm like, what is it I'm doing wrong?
So, you're not spending that much, or are you saying you're spending more than that?
Spending way more. Like
really? Yeah, what are you doing wrong? Because we eat good. I mean, like we eat healthy. We Yeah, we farmers market it.
Well, the issue is, okay, let me tell you the big issue. One, I'm
Help
finding
somebody
that
out.
things are not lasting longer than they should. So if I try to get a lot of like produce, especially if I'm going to like Kroger or because that's the closest thing we have to the house. If I have because I have not planned, yeah, okay. So if I'm going to Kroger and getting the things, honey, fruit and vegetables are not lasting as long as they used to. I don't know what's going on, but it's not. So that's why
Which
I'm
is
saying
good because
though.
they're not supposed to last long.
Yeah, but I guess if I'm saying so in that case, if they're not supposed to last long, then I need to be planning to go to the grocery store twice a
Every
week.
Yeah, yep, twice a week or at least every week for sure. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm trying not to do that. So
So then you have to go frozen.
no, but I know I'm not gonna do that
Well,
either.
then you're gonna have
That's
to go once a week or two. Now that's the one thing we did work on is not being wasteful
yeah,
because we
and
do
that
buy a
that's
lot.
what
We
I'm
do
saying.
buy a
A
lot of
lot of the
fresh
money has gone
things.
to waste.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do buy a lot of fresh things, so we can't be in order to keep from being wasteful with it. That we have to with a plan. So if do we need pineapples if we don't plan on using pineapples this week? Or do we need strawberries if we're not going to use strawberries? Because if there's no plan of making smoothies this week, then don't buy fresh strawberries because
But
otherwise,
you said the key word, which is plan, and
yeah,
so
yeah.
that's what I know. Me and my family have to get better at is planning it. You know what I'm
Or
saying?
even if you don't plan, then when it's in, because I know sometimes I go in the refrigerator and I have an idea of doing something else, but then I see them bananas there and I'm like, well, if I don't
And
do
they
something
they
with
about to go
and
bad.
bananas, I can freeze and use in a smoothie, so that may not be a good example. But if I see squash in there, for example, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't planning on making squash, but if I don't cook these today, they're probably not going to be cooked in the next 2 days. And if I don't cook them in the next 2 days, they're definitely going to go in the trash. So it's like, it's going to be made today. So that plan of not making squash is out the window because I'm not wasting this $4 or $5 pack of
Right,
squash.
right.
So
So
we're going to
again,
cook this today.
we have fed a lot of birds and a lot of animals and lot because we'll go out and just put the stuff that's gone bad, we'll go put it out in the backyard. And again, like I see where a lot of the money went to, which is waste, just allowing things to go bad. So planning, and then also the discipline aspect. Um, the discipline aspect for me comes into place when it's doing something that I don't necessarily want to do, but I need to do it anyway. Because when you're working for yourself, it's like who again, I go back to the who's gonna check me, boo. Like if I don't do it.
Well, listen, you did that in 2023 successfully by doing me as a podcast host because you said like, listen, I cannot not show up if I got Christy as the co-host,
Right.
Because she gonna show up. So that's a perfect example of knowing yourself, knowing where you will fall short, and then putting in things in place so that you can't fall short because something or someone is going to hold you accountable. My husband is the one for prior to this. We didn't do as much of sitting down together. And now we've sat down together, or we would sit down together and be like, this is what I'm doing. Just let you know this is what I'm doing. He just let know this is what I'm doing. And the conversation has changed. It's not a sit down and let you know what we're doing. It's a sit down to look at what we have, look at what we plan on doing, and what are we gonna do. And so I actually went up to the kitchen the other day and gave him a hug because he pretty much said you can't do that because that's not part of our plan. And I didn't like snap or anything, but my body language was like, who the hell are you talking to? Let's keep it real. Like, I know my body language was like that. But I still appreciated that. Like, it was still sexy as hell for him to be like, but that's not our plan. You can't do that. And so I went to the kitchen later and gave him a hug and gave him a kiss. And I said, the one thing I do is follow rules. Like, I'm not a rule breaker. And so, especially if I don't believe in the rule, like if the rules don't make sense, like that's stupid, this don't even make sense, then I may break it, but it makes sense to me to break it. But as long as if it's a rule and I believe in it, like I believe in our plan. So I went and gave him a kiss and a hug and I was like, thank you. Like, I appreciate that. And I was like, I look forward in 2024 to you telling me things that I can't do. Now, that don't mean that he ain't gonna get the body language that be gonna be like, who the hell are you talking to? But I still appreciate it because I know for the greater goal, it's what we need. It's definitely what I need. Because I will finagle some stuff and make it look like I just said, like he's like, only trips we're taking in 2024 are business trips. Well, I got
that's what he said.
Yeah. And
Okay.
it's true. It is what needs
Okay.
to be done. Now, the good thing is, like, my business trip is to Grand Cayman Islands in March, so I can't really complain. My business trip in the summertime is Vegas. I
Mm-hmm.
can't really complain. So it's not. I can still fulfill my need to get out on my business trips. It would have been now if
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "We ain't taking no business trip." I'm like, "Wait, brother, you done
All
married the
right.
wrong person around here because I'm gonna take the business trip." But I'm also one of the people that be like, you if you like, so we need to go to Hawaii. Girl, I got this trip that for Hawaii. This only this discount. I wanted people that be like, okay, great. When we leave 3 months, okay, good. Let me reach out to some people so I can set up a business meeting while we're in Ohio, and then great, we can go. So I will
Mm-hmm.
follow the rules and I will make it make sense on paper. Just let me know what they are. I'll make them work.
Right, right. No, and it makes sense. But and for me though, I've been the type of person that I'll back my way into it. So if there's something that I want to do, I'm just like, okay, now how much it costs? All right, let me go get it. And that stresses me out more than
Mm-hmm.
having the plan for it in the beginning. So I'm making a commitment to myself of not backing my way into things all the time because I know how to go generate some money. Like that ain't I know
Right.
how to go do that. But it's the stress that comes with it and it's the and not enjoying my life as it's going that comes with it that messes everything up. So it gets done, but it's because by hook and by crook. um and y'all don't know what that comes, go watch the last show. But
Right.
but yeah, so it's the by any means necessary legally that I get it done. And again, it's not I don't feel as good as I would have if I would have just planned for it. So I know, like I said, I know for myself. I mean, even now, I'm not waiting to 2024. I'm starting now is to just planning, being a better planner, and one thing I am going to do because I'm just not a good planner, but one thing I'm going to do is surround myself with those of you who are,
Yes.
right?
And I
And
and I
I've
got that
already,
because I me and our producer have said it over and over again, Lancer, that we can both show up greater and better if we know the plan in advance. So
mm-hmm,
one thing we're definitely going to do is sit down and write out the plan. And because I'm not, you come up with great ideas and they be
mm-hmm,
2 weeks before you want it to happen. And then we just have
mm-hmm.
to be like, we're going to table that to 2025 because that's not on the schedule. And it's
Oh yeah,
okay.
yeah. No, and it is okay. It is okay,
Yeah.
and I'm going to have to be okay with it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's funny. Lance and I was we were ended the night last night. We came up with a grand idea. And in my mind, I'm like, let's go. But in my second mind, my better mind, I'm like, we need a plan for that. I know we can go, but we have so much already going on that if we were to do that, it would just be a lot more stress. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It'd be a lot more. And it's is it taking away from you said I came up with it. Is it taking away from what we already have going on, or is it adding to it? And right now we would be using energy that we do not have to pour into something else to start. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So
Yeah.
that's I
We've
know
made
like I
some
said,
amazing points. So I'm gonna go through some of the things that we talked about as we
mm-hmm,
prepare for going into 2024. And
mm-hmm,
some of the things that we've said is leveraging your connections for
yes.
sure. Stepping into leadership, whatever that means for you, not backing out of it, but stepping into it.
Mm-hmm,
What knowing the rooms and spaces that you can add value to and add
mm-hmm,
value to those rooms and spaces. Leaning more into your community, that's a big
mm-hmm.
one. Having data driven decisions across the board,
Yes.
and then
If the numbers don't make
embracing,
sense.
yep, if it don't make
Mhm,
sense, and then basing it on last year numbers, like go look at those
mhm,
last year numbers.
mhm,
Embracing sustainable practices, that's the one I took about out of your food. Like,
mhm.
is the practice that you're doing sustainable throughout the rest of this year, and
Right.
adjusting accordingly. And then last, this is definitely not least, is focusing on your mental health and your well-being, because
Mhm,
like you said, you're putting yourself in stressful situations, and that's you're putting that stress on yourself. So stop
mhm.
doing that. Focusing
Right.
on what's going to keep you in a good mental space, and your health at an all-time high.
Mm-hmm. That's it. I love the recap. Like that's gonna be
Yep.
the yeah. That's it. So we could drop the mic there because that recap was bomb. But yeah. So we made it through 2023. Can't wait to see what 2024 has to in store. And so y'all drop like leave us some ideas and leave us some things that you're gonna leave behind in 2023, things that you're gonna take with you to 2024. And yeah, I can't wait.
Yep. See you back here next time for
That's
hashtag
it.
point blank period. We've made lots of great points during this discussion. And now we need you to fill in the blank of how you're going to apply it to your life and your business. Period.
Period. All right. Have a good day, y'all.